Welcome flappers, it's time for another Genshin guide video. Today's character will be Razor. Now before we start, I just want you all to know that I'm getting close to 1000 subscribers and I really want to hit that before December. So please click that subscribe button and make that like button light up. Also a huge shout out to my notification squad. You guys are amazing and I feel very blessed to have you all with me. Now do also look at this. Turns out the vast majority of y'all aren't even subscribed, so it breaks my poor little walrus heart that you enjoy the content but missed most of my upload. So do yourself a favor and join the notification squad. Now we got the shameless self-promotion part out of the way, let's talk about Razor, his skills, the best build, and team for him. Razor is an Electro Claymore user and has a rather selfish playstyle. In order to maximize Razor's potential, you need to have him out on the field for the majority of the time, hence building him becomes a linear task. Whether it's his weapons and artifacts or his teammates, we pick them all with one thing in mind, and that is how to make Razor shine. Razor exists to be the sole carry of your team. When fielding Razor, you need not worry about a second DPS because Razor will pack more than enough damage output just by himself. As usual, let's start with his skills and work our way to weapons, artifacts, and finish with team builds. Remember, all the timestamps will be down below in the comments and also included in the video. So Razor's skills are rather simple but efficient. His elemental skill has two ways of being used. First is a press, which has Razor strike before him with an electro attack, and when held releases an area of effect electro damage. The reason Razor is known as a selfish carry is because he requires you to keep him on the field to maximize his sigils, which are gained whenever he uses his elemental skill. When you hit enemies with a press skill, you gain a sigil which lasts for 18 seconds and increases your energy regen by 20%, and you can have up to 3 with each use of the skill, resetting your sigil duration. Whenever you use your held elemental skill, you will consume all sigils and gain 5 energy per sigil consumed, meaning you can gain up to 15 energy, which is around 19% of your burst required amount. Ultimately means you want to be spamming Razor's elemental skill on cooldown in order to have maximum uptime on his burst skill. Speaking of his burst skill, when used, Razor summons a wolf which strikes alongside Razor's normal attack, dealing additional electro damage per hit. When Razor has his burst skill up, he will gain the following traits: increased attack speed and electro resistance, immunity to electro charge status, disables charged attacks, and increased resistances to interruptions. This is a huge buff to Razor's DPS, and you should aim to have this up as often as possible, hence why you spend most of your time with Razor on the field. Ascension 1, you gain an 18% elemental skill CD, and using his burst will also reset his elemental skill. At Ascension 4, you gain a passive which increases Razor's energy regen by 30% when his energy is less than half. What all this means is his entire kit is designed for him to stack energy to use his burst as often as possible. So with that in mind, let's move over to his weapons, artifacts, and substats. Razor's build is quite straightforward, as he mostly do physical damage and uses normal and charged attacks. You want to go for a physical DPS build. There really is no reason to build anything other than a physical build, as even though he has a low cooldown for his elemental skills, it still has a 6-second cooldown for the press and 10-second for hold. So it's extremely inefficient to build him as an electro damage or support. Meaning ultimately for his choice of weapon, we have the 4-star choice prototype Animus. This is a craftable weapon, which means anyone can get it. If you are lucky enough to get your hands on a wolf's gravestone, then that is without a doubt the best in slot for Razor. For 3-star alternatives, you should go for the Debate Club, and beyond this, I do not suggest you pour too much more resources to other 3-star weapons, as at this point you can find better results from other carries and eventually switch to Razor down the line. For artifacts, without a doubt, the 4-set Gladiator is the way to go. It boosts everything that is great for Razor and is the ultimate set to progress towards. Early game, you can also use the 2-piece Sojourner and 2-piece Martial Artist, or if you cannot get your hands on those, you can go for 2-piece Berserker for some crit chance. Substats, you should always be looking for attack percentage, then physical damage, and finally crit damage. You only need to have crit chance to be above 50% as a general rule of thumb, and going forward should stack crit damage. With Razor's burst skill, you gain quite a bit of attack speed as well, so stacking crit damage will overall yield better results once your crit is above 50%. Finally, let's go over team building. For Razor, you want him as your main carry and you absolutely need a cryo support to maximize his physical damage. For those who have Chi-Chi, this will be an amazing combo as Chi-Chi with Sacrificial Sword and Razor will almost have permanent super conduct, which will give a 50% physical resistance reduction on your enemies. If you do not have Chi-Chi, Kaya will fill this role nicely as well. Also, you'd want a second Electro unit in the squad if you want to maximize Razor's burst skill through the high voltage resonance, which produces an elemental particle every time superconduct, overload, or electrocharge reaction happens. So FISCHL can fit this role nicely while also adding passive DPS. Ultimately, to finish the team off, it depends on whether you are using Chi-Chi or Kaya. If you are using Chi-Chi, someone like Sucrose or Venti can finish the team off with some great crowd control and elemental damage boost. If you are running Kaya, you'd want a healing to finish the team, so you can choose Barbara or DIONA. So this will be a great team to run Razor with. As mentioned, when running Razor, he really does not need a second DPS on the team as he will spend most of the time on the field. So that's it for the Razor guide. If this has helped you, then please do consider dropping a like and subscribing as I post videos 7 times a week, so there's always content to watch. Also, join my Discord with the link in the description. The first 100 members gets a special role. I want to once again stress that most viewers are not subscribed, and if you enjoyed this video, do consider subscribing as that helps a lot. Finally, thank you to my notification squad for always being so fast. Y'all are amazing. And with that concludes this video. But worry not, as we will see each other again tomorrow. So I will see you soon. Peace, peace.